Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. We have another petty revenge, which makes everyone happy. This one is titled, Faked Proof That I Had a Flat Tire So That the Lazy People on My Group Project Would Have to Do the Presentation Themselves, Therefore Likely Will Fail. There's some premeditation involved with this one. I'm in a class where a group research project / presentation is a huge chunk of overall points. Everyone knows in group projects you always have that one slacker who doesn't do anything that you have to compensate for. However, I got stuck with possibly the worst 3 people to be in a project with in the class. I did the entire research, presentation, poster boards, etc. among many other things myself. I tried talking to them and telling them they needed to put in their share of the effort. Ignored. I'd send them tasks to do. Ignored. I'd try to schedule meetings. They'd say they were coming and then leave me alone at the library. This happened from the get-go. It was abundantly clear that they expected everyone else to do the work, but everyone else just turned out to be me. Rule: we couldn't have things 100% memorized word for word, and we couldn't read off of anything. We had to actually know the subject. I was fully prepared to do most of the talking and even wrote down a small script for them and told them to know what to say during their part at the very least. The night before, I told them we had to meet to at least go over the whole thing one time. Again, none of them showed. At this point, I'm livid and decide they can just do it themselves, which means they'd get up there, not know a damn thing to say other than the small info that I gave them, and couldn't even bullshit anything because they did no research. Thing is, if we miss without an excuse, we fail the project. If you have an excuse, you have to have documentation. I commute and live an hour away, so I decide that I'll conveniently have a flat tire right before class. Went out and actually bought a tire so I could have the receipt to prove it. Emailed the professor, who said I can present by myself during his office hours. Turns out they completely bombed and not only probably failed the project, but since they're bad students, might even make them fail the class. Edited to say, the professor stated at the beginning that we were not allowed to contact him about people slacking in the group, and said to work it out amongst ourselves. Said that we were adults and that he wouldn't even respond to emails about it. Well, that's kind of shitty on the professor's part, isn't it? Because then if you're this kind of person, the one person who's going to do the work, who's there to enforce? OP can't enforce anything. It's the professor's job to do that. The only other option is to do what OP did here. I think that is I think it's a shit coward move by the professor. Yeah, you're the administrator here, dude. Prof. You will actually have to do something and deal with people like that. We've read similar stories where the professor actually was in the know on things and it helped the whole situation. So saying just figure it out when no one has any authority to fix anything is a lazy, cowardly move. And yeah, I get you're gonna have to figure out how to deal with these kinds of people in life all the time, but someone has to have some actual power to enforce things. And the professor is the only one in this scenario who has that. And he took himself out of play. So what the hell, man? I think given that they didn't have any other choice but this, yeah. Also, buying a tire. Actually buying the tire, worth it. 100% worth it. You're going to need it at some point anyway. Now you got a full-size spare. It's fine. It's fine. And OP gets to still maintain their grade because they're going to present during office hours. I would, during office hours, go ahead and fill him in on everything. He said he didn't want to hear about it, but he needs to hear about it. And obviously he probably knows now because the rest of the group just bombed on everything. But dear God, man, this is part of a professor's job, I feel like. I think it's a necessary evil because in many work scenarios, you are going to have to work in groups and on teams. However, there was always going to be an admin. There's going to be someone who is in charge and can enforce and keep people accountable there. I think that there is value in having to do it, but there has to be some kind of hierarchy involved for group projects, for team projects to be able to work. We have a team here for the Dusty Thunder stuff, but we also have a team for Storm Cloud Marketing for our agency, and there are sub teams there. Like we have our creative team, we have a digital team, we have the video team, we have different subsets there, and someone always has to be able to say, we need to do this. Someone has to have the authority to create change. Someone has to have the authority to create accountability. And if they didn't allow the group to like vote on who that person was and create some kind of reporting structure to keep people accountable, then it's worthless. If they're just saying, y'all deal with it and make each other accountable and I don't want to know nothing about it, that's not helpful. That's not constructive at all. There has to be some way to keep people accountable because left to their own devices, many people are not accountable. As long as there's some kind of structure to it to facilitate the whole group actually working and there's some kind of monitored process in there, great. Because yes, having to work on a team is likely to happen as you enter the business world. No matter what you do, you're going to likely encounter some kind of team that you have to function on. So knowing how to do that, knowing how to work with different personalities is a big deal. However, knowing that you're not just a victim in all of it when people don't pull their weight is a big deal too.